Get started on our lesson today regarding percents. We're going to be converting fractions and decimals into percents. The next lesson we'll do the reverse. You'll be able to figure it out slowly, but we're going to take our time with it. So a percent is a blank, and we learned about this before, but it's a ratio. Not always necessarily in fraction form, but when it is written in fraction form, that ratio is of a number to 100, right? The word percent means per, and then cent, like century, centimeter, so on and so forth, right, is 100. So as an example, if you say that the state charges 6% sales tax, that means you will pay $6 for every $100 that you spend. So if your item is $200, you're getting charged $12 extra for sales tax. When you model it, right, these cubes here are 100. So if I'm looking at 8% of this setup, I would be shading in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could put this in any way. I can go sideways. I could do this and put some here. Either way, it's 8, right? 8 of those pieces. So you could do the same for number 2 and number 3. What you need to pay attention to is something like number 4. That says 62 and a half. So we would be shading 62 boxes, and we know there's 10 here. So this is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, right? So that we take care of that. Now we're going to take care of the 2. So 1, 2, and now we're going to take care of the half. So we're actually only shading half of this box, and that's what you need to be careful about. Sometimes if we go over 100, we have to take a look at this. You would be shading in all of this, this entire box, right? Because 100 of them. But we're going over 100, which means we need another set of this 100 and get 24 of them. So you'd be shading 10, another 10, which makes it 20, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So this represents 124%. Go ahead and try and work backwards on these. Pause the video so that you can try these before you check the answer. Now that you've tried these on your own, you should see that number 6 is 72%, number 7 is 29%, number 8 is 68%, number 9 is 10.5%, and number 10 is 153%. So now let's move on now that we understand just the basic modeling of this. When we are writing percent, when we're taking percents and turning them into fractions, we're not going to do this. We're going to wait on this for the next lesson. I want to make sure that we understand it straight from how to turn fractions and decimals into percents. We will come back to page 4 on our next lesson. There we go. We want to write a fraction as a percent. We're starting with the fraction. You want to make an equivalent fraction. Hey, didn't ratio set us up for this? We want to make it so it's equivalent to 100 in the denominator. So we have 3/20 as our example. We want to make this denominator 100. And since we always make equivalent fractions, by what operations? Think. Multiplying or dividing. Well, to get from 20 to 100, I know I multiplied by 5. So whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. So we're going to also multiply this by 5 because, again, equivalent fractions. So this is 15 out of 100. 15 per every 100. So if you start to see that language, it's 15%. Because we set it up out of 100, we know that this answer is 15%. Let's do number 14, because number 14 definitely looks different from the others. Oops, sorry, not number 14. Over here, number 20. I think it's 14 on your page, so it's okay. I'm looking at the one that is, number 20. Yeah, here we go. So first, we need to change this to an improper fraction. Or you can solve it a different way too. I'm going to show you 2 ways. All right, I'm just going to write this here so that it's set up. So let's change it to an improper fraction. which makes it a 19 over 10, right? So you do 1 times 10, which is 10, plus 9, right? That check mark, which gives us 19. 19 over 10. We want to make an equivalent fraction to 100. How did I get from here to here? Which is how you get from here to here. Let's make this 190. Which means it's 190 per every 100, which makes it 190%. Another way to do this is you can see this 1, and you already know it's going to be 100%, right? It's going to be over 100%. So now you take the 9/10 and make it equivalent to 100, right? We see that you multiply by 10 here, so you multiply by 10 here, you get 90. So since it's over 100, you know it's 190. A couple of different ways that you can tackle these. I want you to go ahead and finish this page so that you can get some practice out of it. Pause the video here before you check your answers. Now that you've paused the video, tried these problems, I'm going to show you the answers. So number 17 is 80%. Number 18 is 92%. Number 19 is 35%. Number 20 we did. Number 21 is 250%. Number 22 is 43.5%. You probably had to make the equivalent fraction by dividing down, and that's okay, right? You want to divide instead of multiplying it. Number 23, you get 85%. Some of you might have brought the denominator down to 20 and then up to 100. There's a couple of different ways that you can tackle this. And number 24, you get 64%, which you probably divided it down to get a denominator of 25 to go up to 100. Sometimes it's not going to be super straightforward of getting it up to 100. We're going to go now, and if you want more practice, you can practice with page 7 here. All right, you'll be able to practice with page 7 here before we move on to writing our decimals as percents on page 9. So on page 9, when we're writing a decimal as a percent, you want to move 2 decimal places to the right? You want to go towards where you would write the percent symbol. And the reason we go 2 places is because it's 100. It's like you're multiplying it by 100. So I would move this 1, 2, right? Because our percent symbol would be at the end. That would make this 28%. And yes, it really is that quick. Let's also look at number 15 because there's 3 decimal places, but that's okay. Let's multiply by 100 or move it 2 decimal places. So we get 87.5%. That is the answer. Sometimes you might still end up with decimals in your answer, and that's okay too. You want to include all the information. You're not taking away or anything. You're just taking the number and multiplying it by 100. Go ahead and practice on this page by pausing the video. Now that you've paused the video and you tried these problems, check your answers. Number 13 is 12%. Number 14 is 68%. 15 we already did. Number 16 is 8%. Number 17, you get a larger percent, which is 250. Number 18 is 4.9%. Number 19 is 130%. Number 20 is 18.25%. Number 21, you get decimal, and that's okay. It's 0.36% or 36/100%. This is repeating, right? Remember, this reminds you of repeating. So there's another 7 after, another 7, number 7. You can keep adding it. When you move the decimal over, it's 77.7 repeated percent. This one, there's a bunch of 6s that follow. So it becomes 16.6 repeated percent. Same thing here. There's a bunch of 3s. But when I move the decimal, 283.3 repeated percent. You can get more practice by going to page 12 and doing some practice problems here. That's it for our lesson today.